I had done a video before talking about Fresh and Fit, and this is actually one of the most recent scandals, I guess, that comes out of the quote unquote manosphere. And the reason it had blown up so big was because I guess Preach had made some comments about Fresh and Fit, and Fresh and Fit had made some comments about them. And so, in one of their recent podcasts, they had basically, they were talking shit, talking about, if you want to throw these hands, we can go ahead and, we can go ahead and do that. And so, uh, these individuals who are here were like, well, hey, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be in Miami if you're really looking to do this. And then Fresh and Fit had made a post on their comment section of their page, talking about how this wasn't the direction that they were going. And if you had listened to them, like they were just going on. And if you kind of watched them, I've watched them a couple of times, and if you kind of watch them, they're like very clowny type of individuals. People. You really don't take that serious. You're kind of just joking around, bullshit. And it works really well for a podcast because it provides a level of entertainment. Now, of course, eventually there's been all these scandals that come out, and all these individuals come out of the woodwork, and some people are clout chasing, and it kind of is what it is when it comes to YouTube and entertainment. Some people get a little bit jealous, kind of like, if you listen to old school Jay-Z, Jay-Z had made, in one of his songs, he had said, "Streets is watching," right? And the reason being is because as you're starting to come up and you're coming out of these, typically where you see this within, minority neighborhoods, where that kind of crabs in a bucket sort of mentality. When people start seeing you become successful, then they're just waiting to bring you down. Very much so, like if you've seen the most recent, what is it, the crate challenge, right? So there's always a lot of people that are out there, and they're recording you, and they're kind of cheering you on, but they're just waiting for you to bust your ass so that they can sit there and they can get a little clip, and then they can post it on the gram and get a little bit of attention for themselves. As much as people sit there and they pretend to be cheering for you, they're secretly, hoping for your demise. Kind of like Biggie Smalls says. Biggie Smalls, kind of said the exact same thing, that people just waiting for him to fail. Basically, was the gist of what he was saying. The same people that were in his group were some of these same individuals that were hoping to see him fail. And this is basically, where Fresh and Fit are at. You have all these people coming out of the woodwork between Auburn Preach. You've got some other individuals coming out. Kevin Samuels talking about it, and all these. Overwhelmingly, it's going to be primarily YouTubers of color, because this is what these communities. This is what these communities do. The moment you have an episode where you fall short, they're just right there to finish you off. Now, overwhelmingly, I think it's obviously it's the fault of the Fresh and Fit podcast. Had overwhelmingly Fit was the one who was talking on the shit that, if you want to throw these hands, and even Fresh kind of interjected a little bit. He was like, yeah, I've been hitting the gym, I'm feeling kind of good, I've been boxing, etc. If you really want to do this, we can do this. And instead of putting up or shutting up, they, after an agreement or an agreement was posted, like, yeah, if you're really looking to do this, we can do this, sort of declaration that was made by both Auburn and Preach, and then they kind of backed up. And this is, I think, a really good example for most men of everything that the aftermath of everybody talking shit, the thousands of subscribers that they had left. Overwhelmingly, a lot of their videos now, a lot of their podcasts are getting ratioed. And this is a really good example for many men to keep in mind, that weakness invites violence. And this is basically what is happening with all these different people coming out of the woodwork and talking shit, and we're going to expose you. And everybody, of course, wants to get, their 15 minutes of fame. But in life, this is a very good example of what happens with many men, where the moment you start to show a little bit of weakness, and you see this in animals, like if you see packs of dogs that are together, like if you ever watch, what was it, Cesar Chavez, the dog whisperer, when a dog would enter into the pack and he would come in, ears down, tail between his legs, the other dogs would actually start to nip at him. Why? Because of the perception of weakness. And as a result, typically violence ensues. And this typically happens among many men, especially among those who want to be looked at as alpha men. That the moment one, even the smell of a little bit of blood in the water, then the sharks come out. And that's why it's always important as a man that you always have to, as they say, maintain frame. Because the moment that you do, there's always somebody out there who's looking to test your alpha. So if you claim to be an alpha man in your everyday life, or if you present yourself as an alpha man, you have to realize that the moment you exhibit any sort of weakness, this is what happens. They come for you because everybody's looking to get a notch ahead in life. And this is just the way men are. And if you want to be on top, then you got to be willing to do whatever it takes to stay on top. And so if you're going to issue a challenge about how you're ready to throw these hands and you start talking shit on the internet and you get thousands of views challenging other men, it's a different story. Posting something on the internet saying that you're willing to challenge a man, it's a completely different thing to do it face to face. And this is where Fresh and Fit had made the mistake. Had they just either kept their mouth shut or at the very least had gone for theirs and shot the fair one, they would have been in a much better situation than they are now. This is just the beginning of the downfall of individuals like this. And of course, we'll have to wait and see. You know, even got O'Shea out here talking shit. And this is not going to end until they address the matter in the way that men typically address it, which is by handling your business.